Coming up on this edition of Reel to Reel.
I'm Steve Kiltonick. The 2018 Annual Catholic Appeal kicks off at the Gray House. I'll have the story.
An Oregon doctor says physician-assisted suicide is bad for Massachusetts. I'm Carol Lee McGrath. I'll have the story next.
And Harmony House opens its doors, providing a loving home to the terminally ill. These stories and more are just ahead on this edition of Reel to Reel. Hello and welcome to Reel to Reel. Today we come to you from the Gray House in Springfield, a neighborhood human service agency founded by the Sisters of St. Joseph more than 35 years ago. The Gray House has been helping neighbors here in the north end of the city meet their immediate needs and address the root causes of poverty by operating a food pantry, adult education programs, and after-school and summer youth programs. More than 5,000 people are helped by these programs each year. We'll learn more about how the Sisters of St. Joseph started Gray House as we talk to one of the founding members, Sister Catherine Hamrock, coming up in just a bit. But first, St. Francis of Assisi's prayer for peace includes the words, "Grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console." In that spirit, the annual Catholic Appeal kicked off its 2018 campaign this week. The ACA officially begins February 14th with Ash Wednesday and will continue during the Lenten season. Steve Kiltonick attended Bishop Mitchell Rosansky's kickoff press conference here at the Gray House and tells us more.
At a press conference held January 30th at the Gray House, Springfield Bishop Mitchell Rosansky launched the 2018 Annual Catholic Appeal. In doing so, Bishop Rosansky announced the theme of this year's campaign, "In Giving We Receive," taken from the Prayer for Peace by St. Francis of Assisi. Sharing the stage with Bishop Rosansky was Teresa Liberti, the Executive Director of the Gray House.
For more than half a century, each year the Catholic community comes together to help those in our communities who are most in need. We do so not just through diocesan services and ministries, but also through the partnerships with community-based agencies like the Gray House here in Springfield. Last year, we were successful in raising more than $2.7 million, which are now being put to good use.
The Gray House has been a fixture in Springfield's North End for over 37 years. It is one of 40 agencies, programs, or ministries that receives money directly from the ACA every year. The ACA supports funding to 4 types of ministries: services to young people, services to those in need, services to the family and the elderly, as well as pastoral and spiritual support services.
When we reach out to others and help them, especially those who are most in need and the most vulnerable, we ourselves feel that sense of God working through us. And what a more satisfying feeling than God working through us in our world to help transform it and to help make our world better. So that's truly, in giving we do receive. It might not be the physical things, it might be the intangible things, but those intangible things that we receive really help us to bring the love of God to others.
Liberti gave Bishop Rosansky a brief tour of the Gray House, where he witnessed 2 programs that benefit from ACA funding. He met with students in one of the adult education classes that are held here 5 days a week and taught by a dedicated group of over 60 volunteers. The instructors all share one desire: to make a difference in the lives of their students, who together represent 32 countries and speak over 23 languages. 50% of them are refugees. Liberti also showed Bishop Rosansky the food pantry, where he met Ben Holter, the pantry director, and Angel, a volunteer.
Most of the food in here we get from the food bank of Western Mass. Ben places the orders on a weekly basis. We get deliveries, and then Ben just started a few months ago a relationship with Sunshine Villages. So we have a group of the adult students from there who come and help unload everything from the truck.
Oh, great.
Liberti said that because of last September's devastating Hurricane Maria in Puerto Rico, the past few months have been especially difficult as many residents there were displaced to new homes in Springfield.
Both of those programs, we have seen an increasing need for the services, especially in the past few months with the evacuees from Puerto Rico coming over. Some people speak a little bit of English, some people speak no English, and we're able to get them into our classes and help them learn the language so that they could get jobs here and really improve their situation. The food pantry also helps in that area, just getting people on their feet and able to put food on the table. Last week, within the matter of 4 hours, we saw 160 families. Many of those families have several children.
It's the young children that are in the most critical need.
We're really focused on getting people nutritious meals, fresh produce, meats, dairy, stuff that's going to help the children grow and develop properly, rather than the canned goods, which we still provide, but really trying to get them more of those nutritious foods.
The money from the ACA is needed now more than ever at the Gray House and throughout the diocese.
With grants dwindling, this money is something that is very important to us and really allows us to continue our services and also to continue improving to meet the needs of our neighbors.
Before leaving, Bishop Rosansky visited with 2 of the 5 founding members of the Gray House, Sisters Kathy Hamrock and Jane Morrissey. Bishop Rosansky praised the individuals and businesses that contributed $2.7 million to the ACA last year. He hopes to surpass that amount in 2018.
I'm grateful for what they have given in the past and their continued generosity into helping this annual Catholic appeal really make a difference in our Western Massachusetts community.
All money raised in the annual Catholic appeal stays in the diocese. Every dollar contributed counts, no matter what the amount. Catholics across the 4 diocesan counties and 87 parishes can contribute in several ways: check, credit card, a pledge over time, matching gifts, or online at diospringfield.org. The ACA begins on Ash Wednesday, February 14th, and continues during the Lenten season. For Reel to Reel, I'm Steve Kiltonick.
And of course, we at Catholic Communications are especially grateful to all of you who so generously donate to the annual Catholic Appeal. Because of your kindness, we are able to bring you this show each week, along with our weekly televised Mass, the Chalice of Salvation. Again, you can make your donation through your parish, or even better yet, right now by logging onto diospringfield.org. Look for the annual Catholic Appeal logo. And thank you for your support. Well, as I mentioned off the top of the program, we are here at Gray House, an amazing agency that is, by the way, funded by the annual Catholic Appeal. This agency was founded by a group of Sisters of St. Joseph back in 1982 to serve the neighbors here in the North End. And here to tell us more is one of the founding sisters, Sister of St. Joseph, Catherine Hamrock. Sister, you have been here since the beginning, and thank you for having us.
Oh, Sharon, thank you for being here with us, because this is really a wonderful place. I consider it the living room of this neighborhood in the North End of Springfield. And I think that's the way the people feel, the people who come here on a regular basis. For food, for help, for learning. We have a learning program for children. We have a learning program for adults. It's just, and I'm so proud to be a part of this.
Well, take us back to the beginning, back to 1982. Whose brilliant idea was this to start the Gray House?
I have to say, it was Jane Morrissey who was the one who was really the prophet, and I was the one who, how are we going to do that? Where are we going to get the money to do this? How are we going to buy this house? We had an auction, the city auction, in front of the house, and we were able to buy the house for $500.
$500?
$500. And
Wow.
but of course we had to get a lot of money, we had to get a lot of help. I mean, we didn't do this by ourselves.
Well, I was going to say, it was a lot of blood, sweat, and tears that you went through.
It was. Even the kids from the neighborhood helped in some ways. They came and they were all excited about the fact that this was going to be happening. We got a lot of help from people who believed in this project.
So you have been here since the beginning.
I've been here from the beginning.
Tell me, what is your favorite part of, I mean, you mentioned there's food that is given out to people, there's after school programs, there's adult literacy programs. Do you have a favorite?
Well, I love coming home from work and then hearing the kids down here, the kids club. They do homework first and then they have fun, and I love hearing their voices, and they're so happy here. You know, there's no fighting. They're just enjoying being in this house. And then they have in the summertime, we have a camp program for them, and they get to go to places that they've, wouldn't be able to go to. I remember the first time some of them had ever been to the ocean. They were all excited about that. Yeah, it's so many good things happen here. We've had so many wonderful people helping us, working with us, families grateful to us. It's just, how could you not feel heartened by that, that you're contributing to something that's so life-giving to other people, especially people who can't afford a lot in life.
Right. Well, I know everyone who ever comes in contact with any of the programs here will tell you that it's an amazing agency, and we wish Gray House many more years of continued success in the neighborhood.
Thank you so much, Sharon. Thank you for being here.
Well, it's our pleasure, sister. And if you would like to learn more about the Gray House, we have a link at iobserve.org. And still to come on Reel to Reel, Carolee McGrath reports on an Oregon doctor who says physician-assisted suicide is not death with dignity, and providing a loving home for the terminally ill. These stories and more are still to come on Reel to Reel.
The Chalice of Salvation, your weekly spiritual connection. I'm Passionist Brother Terrence Gallon, your Chalice host, inviting you to take time out of your busy days and join us this Sunday morning at 10. We welcome Father Larry Brawl, chaplain to the Worldwide Marriage Encounter membership of our area, as we celebrate the 6th Sunday of Ordinary Time. The Chalice of Salvation, your spiritual connection, Sunday morning at 10, right here on 22 News, WWLP.
The annual Catholic appeal, "In giving we receive," taken from the prayer of St. Francis. As Catholics, we seek to bring hope to those who despair in life. Through your collective giving, we bring light to the darkness as we spread our faith to those who doubt. Your gift will make a difference, for in giving we receive God's blessings. So please give generously in your parish or at diospringfield.org.
Travel with Catholic Communications in 2018 on a pilgrimage to Poland, Vienna, and Prague. I'm Father Gary Daly, inviting you to join Bishop Rosansky and me July 16th through the 27th for an inspiring pilgrimage to Eastern Europe. We'll begin in Poland, visiting the monastery in Częstochowa, and then spend 4 nights in beautiful Kraków, visiting the Divine Mercy Sanctuary, the Wawel Castle and Cathedral, Auschwitz, and many other sites. In Vienna, we will have the opportunity to visit beautiful palaces and shrines and attend a Mozart concert. We will conclude in Prague for a 3-night stay, visiting St. Nicholas Church and other beautiful churches and sites, and an evening riverboat cruise. For more information, look for the link on iobserve.org or call 413-452-0643. Travel with us in 2018.
Join us March 10th for the inaugural Catholic Schools Tuition Gala at the Mass Mutual Center in Springfield for an evening of great food, live entertainment, live and silent auctions, and more. For tickets, call 413-452-0699 or visit iobserve.org for more information.
With the tap of a finger, the click of a computer mouse, or even a voice command to a non-human device, 21st century folks can find the directions to or answers for just about any place, person, or thing. When it comes to questions of faith, though, the choice of a search engine is a bit less clear. As Catholics, we now find ourselves approaching the season of Lent, a time when we are called to consider ways to become better human beings by deepening our relationship with Jesus in prayer and penance, but also through service to those he loved, the poor, the sick, and those incarcerated or imprisoned by other life struggles. In the March-April issue of the Catholic Mirror, we highlight some ways to build our spiritual strength including participation in the annual Catholic Appeal, which helps so many people in our region improve their lives through help with basic necessities, education, and spiritual support. Also introduced in this issue is the first installment of Always With You, a series of features about how the Catholic Church ministers to the faithful in various stages of their spiritual journeys. First up is a profile of a local woman who is returning to the Catholic faith through the rite of Christian initiation of adults and the support of a welcoming parish. In other local news, Passionist brother Terrence Scanlon reflects on his ministry as host of the weekly Chalice of Salvation television Mass, which marks its 60th anniversary on the air this year. And in his column, Bishop Rosansky offers special thanks for the blessings of the diocese's TV programs. And as the March 19th Feast of St. Joseph approaches, local members of the Men of St. Joseph group strive to be examples of Christ in their families and communities. Along with the parish angel profile of RCIA instructors Al and Joyce Rosati, we hope the stories in this issue will help readers stay on course during this season of Lent and successfully reach the destination of Easter with renewed hope in the resurrection. At the editor's desk, I'm Rebecca Drake.
Physician-assisted suicide is an issue that keeps circling back with death with dignity bills before the legislature again this year. In 2012, Massachusetts voters narrowly defeated a ballot initiative which would have made it legal. Now proponents of assisted suicide have their sights set on the legislature. The Catholic Church, of course, teaches that all life must be protected from conception to natural death. Carolee McGrath attended a recent conference with an Oregon doctor who says physician-assisted suicide is far different and more dangerous than its catchy phrase, death with dignity.
Dr. William Toffler is a family physician. As a young doctor, he says he didn't give much thought to the pro-life cause. But after a conversion and 7 children later, you could say he had a change of heart. Dr. Toffler, who is from Oregon, has been an outspoken critic of physician-assisted suicide. He spoke recently at the Converging Roads Conference held at Assumption College for healthcare professionals, priests, and religious.
I'm here in Massachusetts to hopefully help Massachusetts not make Oregon's mistake.
Dr. Toffler, who is the National Director of Physicians for Compassionate Care, worked to try to defeat physician-assisted suicide in Oregon. But in 1997, the state became the first in the country to legalize the measure.
There literally was a patient in Oregon, Barbara Wagner, who had advanced cancer, and it had been under control. It recurred. Her oncologist wanted to give her a drug called Tarceva, which would predictably give her an extended length of life. You know, she'd have a 45% increased chance of being alive in 1 year. She wanted that treatment. The cancer doctor wanted to give it to her. It was denied by the state health plan, the Oregon health plan. So here's the plan for underserved patients who will give her 100% coverage for assisted suicide. In the same letter, they say this. I mean, even if you're for assisted suicide, you have to wonder how chilling it is that you'd say, we'll pay for you to die, but not to live.
Dr. Toffler lost his wife of 40 years to cancer. He says he understands the pain, suffering, and grief, but he says helping someone commit suicide is not compassion.
What we have for the relief for people suffering, when people suffer, that's treatment. It's to solve the suffering problem. It might be emotional, it might be spiritual, it might be physical. And thankfully, you have good treatments for all of those issues. But the solution to suffering is not the end of the life of the sufferer. This is absolutely totally wrong-headed. It violates a 2,400-year-old tradition of doctors not doing harm, nurses not doing harm.
In 2012, Massachusetts voters narrowly defeated a ballot question which, if passed, would have legalized physician-assisted suicide. Currently, there are 2 bills before the state legislature with similar language. In November, voters in Amherst and in Northampton passed non-binding resolutions which support that legislation. Marie Hilliard, the Director of Bioethics and Public Policy for the National Catholic Bioethics Center, spoke on the challenges for healthcare workers. Hilliard is a registered nurse and a canon lawyer.
Benedict said it so well in a beautiful encyclical called Spe Salve. And that, in Hope We Are Saved, basically is how that translates. And he talks about society that is unable to accept and suffer with a person who is suffering and dying is a cruel and inhumane society. And so we capture this all with language of compassion, but it's not compassionate. We've got actually a throwaway society.
Deacon Don Phillip from Immaculate Conception Parish in Springfield attended the conference. Deacon Don Phillip was in Oregon when physician-assisted suicide became law. He also worked to defeat the measure here on the ballot in 2012. So what's your message to the people in the Diocese of Springfield? What do we have to do?
We first of all need to pray. We need to be very aware that when we hear terms like death with dignity or compassion and dying, it may not be something that's friendly to us as Catholic people. So we need to be educated, we need to learn more, and to share more, and not to be afraid to talk about the topic.
The St. John Paul II Foundation, which is based in Houston, Texas, sponsored the event. St. John Paul II wrote the Gospel of Life.
He lived it and he showed it. He himself, in a sense, became that gospel. So it's important for us as Catholics to embrace and understand that beautiful teaching, to see his witness and recognize that our lives are frail, that God at some point will call us home. And we can't avoid that frailty forever, but instead, in the face of frailty, always to pursue it with virtue, with love, and unite our suffering to Christ.
The Massachusetts Medical Society recently took a neutral position on physician-assisted suicide, this after many years of opposing the issue in the Bay State. Reporting for Reel to Reel, I'm Carolee McGrath.
Physician-assisted suicide is currently legal in California, Colorado, Vermont, Oregon, Washington, Montana, and the District of Columbia. What many in medical and religious communities advocate is a more compassionate outreach to those who are facing terminal illnesses. 10 years ago, while Ruth Willimane was volunteering in nursing homes and with hospice, she was moved by people who needed her companionship in their dying days. It was something that stayed with her, and today she's got a small army at her side to provide a home and comfort. Kathy Harrington reports now on Willimane's dream that's turned into a reality, Harmony House.
And they would say, Ruth, if you didn't come to visit me, I wouldn't have any company at all. Or, Ruth, please take me home with you. I'm not happy here. But when one woman told me, Ruth, will you come to my funeral? I don't want to be alone in church.
This is Harmony House, a 3-bedroom ranch in a Chicopee neighborhood, opening its doors in mid-June.
Because this is their house, this is where they live.
Manned around the clock with a roster of volunteers, medical and non-medical, the home is a new option in Western Massachusetts for people who are in their final days.
They must be diagnosed by a doctor that they are terminally ill 3 months or less rather than 6. They must be without a willing or unable caregiver, and then they must come to us with their hospice team. We become their surrogate family.
The first resident moved in July.
I really am quite comfortable, and everyone's time is volunteered, so I feel like I'm getting the best of care because I know they want to be here.
After 9 months of dialysis, Eden Phoebus decided to stop the 3 times a week procedure.
I knew I was going to die early. I mean, the doctors told me as much.
Diagnosed with diabetes at the age of 26, Eden suffered 2 heart attacks and was living with congestive heart failure. Her social worker found Harmony House and brought her for a visit.
I met Ruth and a couple of the volunteers, and I picked the bedroom that I wanted.
Amy Corcoran is the president of the Harmony House Board of Directors.
It is her home. She has quite a few friends that come to visit, and they're all happy to see her, and she's happy to see them. They spend time, they either go outside and sit, or they sit in the living room, wherever they prefer. We just kind of move around them so that we're not in their way.
As a volunteer, Amy got involved with Harmony House as Ruth worked to raise the money to get the home up and running.
She had a plan, I think this is a great resource for this community, not only just for Chicopee, but for Western Massachusetts. And also, like I said, all faiths, my faith, your faith, whoever feels that there is a need for this, because that's what we're here for, is for the people of this community. I just think it's a great thing. Sometimes, someday somebody may need us, but right now, what we actually need from the community is their support.
The peace and comfort Eden found here made her want to spread the word about Harmony House.
It's homey. It's very homey. It's the most fantastic thing ever. Like, I'm so grateful, and I want people to know about it.
This home on Pendleton Avenue will serve as Harmony House while renovations are made to a larger property that will serve more people. Last spring, after working through red tape, a simple ribbon-cutting ceremony officially opened the house, and Ruth's vision became a reality.
To die with dignity, with respect, knowing they are loved, that someone really cares. And I feel we're doing the right thing. And there are so many, unfortunately, who die alone. And this we're trying to avoid. So having someone here 24/7, hopefully it will never happen here.
I'm very loved, and I feel loved by these people. I really do. I can feel their sensitivity, their empathy toward me and whoever will come in here being sick, and I think this is a perfect place to be. It's a perfect alternative to a nursing home.
For Reel to Reel, I'm Kathy Harrington.
Eden Rose Phoebus died several weeks after our interview. Since then, her sister has joined the Harmony House roster of volunteers. This home has proven so necessary that not even a year into its operations, they've begun to seek permits, and plans for renovations on the permanent Harmony House are expected to be completed by Thanksgiving 2018. And tomorrow, Sunday, February 11th, Sacred Heart Parish in Feeding Hills will host their annual Service of Healing and Anointing, marking the observance of the World Day of the Sick, which is also the Feast of Our Lady of Lourdes. All are invited to this special liturgy at 6 p.m. The Sacrament of the Sick will be available, as well as the opportunity to be prayed over by one of the many priests and deacons that will be there for this event. Following the Mass, there will be a reception at the Parish Center. The church is located at 1065 Springfield Street in Feeding Hills. And for this week, that's Reel to Reel. Thanks for spending part of your evening with us, and thanks also to the folks here at the Gray House for hosting our visit today. If you would like to learn more about this agency, funded in part by donations from the annual Catholic Appeal, we have a link at iobserve.org. Also, a reminder that this week, beginning with Ash Wednesday, we officially launch the 2018 Annual Catholic Appeal, In Giving We Receive. This year's theme for the Annual Catholic Appeal calls on each of us to share in the mission to bring God's peace to our world and to inspire hope in the hearts of people. We can stand together in love and mercy. By supporting this year's appeal, donate through your parish, online, anytime at diospringfield.org. And before we leave you, some good news, as next weekend, Reel to Reel and the Chalice of Salvation will return to the airways in Berkshire County on WXXA Fox 23 out of Albany, New York. Reel to Reel will air Sunday mornings at 5:30 a.m., followed by Chalice at 6 a.m. And I will be back at this same time next week for another edition of Reel to Reel, your window on the world around you. See you then.
Reel to Reel is a production of the Catholic Communications Corporation, funded in part by the annual Catholic Appeal, and the support of you, our faithful viewers.
The annual Catholic Appeal, In Giving We Receive, taken from the prayer of St. Francis. As Catholics, we seek to bring hope to those who despair in life. Through your collective giving, we bring light to the darkness as we spread our faith to those who doubt. Your gift will make a difference, for in giving we receive God's blessings. So please give generously in your parish or at diospringfield.org.